So there are some additional ceiling lines we'll come back and add after we do the second floor. So we're going to go run our second floor layer state. All right, the first thing we'll put in here is the stairs. It's on a similar layer as the first floor, except it's A2 floor stairs. No hidden lines here because you're looking completely down on the stairs from this level. So we'll set that as current. This block is 1/32 of an inch off, and it causes issues with dimensioning, so we'll move it into place after we get it in. Insert, more options, browse. Remember, you may not be here, you'll have to go back to floor plans and second floor plan block, second floor plan symbols, stair level 2. It's going to go in a similar location on the intersection at the back right side here on the inside wall. What happens here though is that it ends up being slightly off because that hot point was not perfect, and so instead of being the correct dimension what this comes in at is, let's see, going to the wrong place here. I need to go to this tread and this intersection. It comes in at 2/4 and 31/32, so it's a 1/32 of an inch off. So once you get the stair in, go ahead and move it over down 1/32 of an inch. That way we'll have our 2.5 dimension there like it's supposed to be. That was just a mistake. It wasn't accurate enough when I did the original insertion point on it. So it's just you have to adjust 1/32 of an inch down once it's in. Alright, starting back on the other side, this is a closet, so as you might expect it's going to be on the casework layer, but for the second floor. So A2 casework, offset 12 inches for the shelf as usual. And you're also going to have another closet over here, same thing, so offset 12 inches for that. And then hidden for the rod, 2 inches back in both cases. Then we have a water heater there and the HVAC heating and ventilation air conditioning equipment here. We're going to put them both on plumbing. So actually let me double check that. That might need to be on equipment. I think it's on plumbing. Yeah, put it on plumbing. Alright, so insert from the second floor blocks, the water heater tankless drawing. This is in the wrong direction, so I'm just going to put it on the midpoint and rotate it and then move it. And then here I'm going to draw a diagonal line to put in the HVAC. It's called the heater, I believe. Equipment furnace, that's the one.
Why came up cash? I'm on the correct layer.
Plumbing. Then check your layer properties and see if you've got the layer set to the wrong line type.
Is this the same block?
No. This is different than the water heater. This one's actually called water heater tankless. Up. Yep. You know what? You got a point. I think I was inserting the wrong block. It is not the same block. Let's try this again. More options, browse. The one for the HVAC should be equipment furnace, that one. It's a little bit larger than that one. And again, the easiest way, just draw a diagonal and move midpoint to midpoint. So span for me. Why aren't you doing what I want you to do? All right, so that's that one. Water heater tankless. And this is equipment furnace. We have that same 3-inch vent. It's actually the same vent. It's just you're showing it again on the second floor. Still on the plumbing layer. Oh, we forgot to show a vent on the first floor. Oh well, we'll come back and get it. This should be 3 inches radius, centered in the wall. This wall should be in the same place on both floors, and so should that vent. Then we've got the bathroom here, and there's a ceiling line change, so that's the overhead layer. There's also a ceiling line change over here. And then we have a floor finish change. All right, this is a bathroom, so just working through this again, we actually have a 9-foot dimension. So take off half an inch for sheetrock on both sides, that'd be 8 feet 11. Minus 2 feet 6 for the tub, 30 inches, minus 2 feet 8 for the clearance for the toilet, leaves us 3 feet 9 for the cabinet. So casework, offset 3 feet 9. It's a bathroom cabinet, so it's 22 inches deep. And then on the plumbing layer, you could either insert it like I was doing it before, or just draw a line from the midpoint back and insert it that way. It's still going to be a lavatory. Insert, can't find it, there it is, insert. From the second floor blocks. Put it right where it intersects the wall there. And then the tub is over here. Again, it's not in the right place, but we'll put it there and rotate it and then move it to the right place. Should be up against the wall. And I missed it just slightly. And then basically just do your diagonal, find the midpoint. You're going to have, if you haven't already, you need to bring in the toilet from the view tool palettes, toilet imperial, change it to round plan, move the midpoint or the back of it to the midpoint there, and move it out forward 2 inches, down 2 inches to get it away from the wall. Okay, so on the second floor, we have half walls that are 42 inches high instead of full height walls, so you can look into the atriums. Here at the front of here, they're actually 3.5-inch walls, not 5.5-inch walls, and they're going to not go on the wall layer, they're going to go on the partial height layer. So A2 wall partial height as opposed to A2 wall frame. So it's going to be this one. The back of the wall is going to align with the inside edge of the frame wall there, but it's going to be only a 3.5-inch wall. So it'll go this way. Same thing happens here. Aligns with the inside face of the wall, and then it's 3.5 inches. And then we have to look at the dimension, which is 9 feet 2 from the outside frame wall to where the wall starts back. So we're going to offset 9 feet 2 from this wall, which is where it's dimensioned from. And then it's another 3.5 inches in from there. That wall is connected, so it turns. This is an atrium space. This is the first floor below here. That's the first floor below over there. But we also have a wall that's here. This is actually the handrail for the stair that you're seeing, but there is a wall that sits there, and it is 4 feet 5.5 inches out from this wall. And then it's 3.5-inch wall, 4, 5.5. If you look at the second floor plan, you can see that 4 feet 5.5-inch wall there. I mean dimension. It's from this wall, 4 feet 5.5. And then we have 3.5 inches for the wall here. So we fill this together. It ends up being in between where the handrail is on the stair. And we will trim that back here. And even though this is not really showing this way on the plan that I gave you, that wall really ought to be ending right there. For the handrail that's going around. Actually, it needs to be the same distance, so it's not quite right still. This is 1/2 inch, so, and this is 3 and 2 inches. So let's move it up. What would that be? 1.5 inches maybe? Yeah. Basically you want that same 1/2 inch for the handrail all the way around. So that's where the end of the wall is then. Basically it's 1/2 inch off the handrail here. So that wall does this, goes back there. And then there's another, which is already part of the stair over here, 42-inch high wall over there. So this particular house out in the front on the elevations, there is a gable here and a gable there. So this is the higher ridge and this is the lower ridge. This is the part that's out front and this is the part that's further back. But this point is centered between this wall and that wall, and the one out front is centered between this wall and that wall. So in plan what that means is that between this wall and that wall, it's the center line. It's representing the high point of this gable. on the line further back on the second floor. Let me go to the second floor here. This ridge line is lining up with how the gable's peeking out. So it's basically centered between the walls, whether it's at the front or further back in the room. So going back to the other one. So to locate those lines, that first ceiling line, which is on the overhead layer, is going to be at the midpoint here. It's basically, if you had to put a dimension on it, it would be from here to there, and from here to there would be the same distance because it's the peak of that gable. So it's the ridge line. So the inside ceiling's vaulting up to that ceiling line out there at the front. And then you're also looking down to the first floor there. So this is open to below, but this is the ceiling line that's up high. And then it would turn here and go up to the other ceiling line that'll be there, and then back down, back over to this wall. And that's going to be halfway between this wall and that wall. So if you drew a line temporarily from here to there, from the frame wall, and then found the midpoint, that would be where the ridge line would be. So in reality, this is all one plane sloping up to here and then back down, and then over where it gets beyond this wall, it's sloping up further to here and then back down to the other side. And then the ceiling height changes back here at the door. So there's a ceiling line there, and that actual ridge line, that ceiling line runs all the way back. So it's a much bigger vault further back in the house than it is in the front. So all this is one plane, all that's one plane, and this is a separate plane here. Now that we've drawn in those partial walls, this outside line here is actually the edge of the second floor. So we can go back to the first floor and put the other lines in. So what we can do is we can follow the A2 partial height wall that we just drew in. Might want to lock it so we don't change it. But then that's going to be the edge. Where's the overhead layer? There it is. It's the second floor line, because that's where it is. That's the edge of the second floor. Up above. And then we also have the ceiling line that's up at the second floor that's in that same location. We just up at the second floor ridge there. All right. One other thing we're going to add, and not every office does this, I think it's a good idea. My office does it because what it does is it relates where the first floor is to the second floor. It's going to be on the A2 sim layer. And you follow the outline of the perimeter frame wall at the first floor. So the layer is going to be A2 sim. And we're going to temporarily thaw and lock a one wall frame, and where the edge of that is where that line belongs. So the perimeter first floor frame is where, so what this does is it relates to where the first floor is in relationship to the second floor. That's what it's for. And then we have the columns in the back along with the lines. Now, they look like they're coming in. Excuse me?
Which one do we lock?
The first floor wall frame, so we didn't change it. I'm on A2 sim, but I locked the first 4 layers, the one that we have displayed.
You're just tracing all around?
I'm just tracing around it. Now, these, as you see, look like they're continuous lines. Technically, they're still hidden, but the lines are not long enough to make them hidden. So for the columns at the second floor, you have to go into the individual properties and change it to a 0.5 line type scale, just at the columns. That way it'll make it show as hidden. And then I'm going to come back and add the other lines that are there. Which would be the beam, edge of the beam. Actually, of course, the beam is shown set back, but it actually, in reality, would be the edge of the beam. And then utility in the garage below.
My first floor layer's not popping up on mine.
Is it on? Have you thought it and turned it on? If you have and it's still not showing up, I'll come take a look. Alright, give me just a second. I'll finish this and I'll come back there and see what's going on. By the way, since these are all 6x6 anyway, once you get one drawn, you could probably just copy it. Go back and change the ones I've already drawn to the 0.5. Don't change universally. Make sure you're actually selecting the lines that you want to change. I'm going to copy that now and just copy it over. And then come back and the edge lines here. There is one vent we left off the first floor. By the way, once you get that drawn in, you don't need to keep that layer displayed. It was just there as a guideline to know where to put the A2 sim. The dryer is required to be vented to the outside, so you would put a 2-inch vent over here. And this one doesn't have to be exactly located. It could be anywhere in this wall. And it belongs on A1 plumbing. So instead of 3 inches, the circle is going to be 2 inches for this one. Just as long as it's behind the dryer, there's no exact location for that. everything's on A2, A-2 here, and everything's on A-1 there before we do it.
Alright.
All right, so. You know where you move it to? Yeah, that should be. So, this one back here should be not well, run your second floor layers. If you got a second floor layer, stay running, and then go back and individually install the A1 wall frame in your pocket, and then draw over the top of it on the.
Oh, the shell.